Hello, everybody. This is Carl Armstrong of Carl's Conversations. Welcome in. It's been a moment since we've had a dedicated Carl's Conversation show, but here you go. And we have a doozy for you today. As you can see by the title, From Prison to Positivity, and this is the story of Mr. Dameion Moore. As you can see on the other side of the screen, we're going to bring him in just a moment. But right now, we need to do a little housekeeping. So, for those of you who are on with us in the live audience, I want you to do something for me. First of all, begin to share the broadcast. That's the first thing I want you to do. Whether you're catching us on YouTube, on Twitter, or on Facebook, please begin to share this broadcast. And also, what I'd like for you to do is begin to tag your friends. All right. Tag your friends. Let them know that Carl's Conversations is on. And we're going to have a conversation so real today. It's so real that Dameion and I don't even know where it's going. And for all of you South Norfolk heads that's up here, y'all know this is Day Day. And so for those of you who know us from background away, this is Day Day, and he's going to tell us his story today. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. For you who don't know, Day Day is my first cousin on my mama's side. And he has a very, very, very interesting story. All right. We thank you, Miss Sandra Pratt. Thank you for being in the audience. And I'm sure you too are going to hear some of the story. You might hear some things today you didn't hear before. So like I said, for those of you in the live audience, please begin to share the broadcast. Share on your platform. And also what I want you to do is to begin to tag your friends, your family, so they will know that we're live. We want them to come on into the audience. And the other thing I want you to know is feel absolutely free to comment or ask questions as we go along. They may share some things that you're going to say, what? Or how did you do X, Y, and Z? Well, listen, we know that we're going to be talking directly to anybody who has had drug reentry experiences, prison reentry experiences. We're speaking directly to you. And to other people who really don't know about this world and don't know about this struggle, this is going to serve as a good piece of education. So you'll have real insight on what it is to live this type of life and to come back to society the right way. Dameion has had much to overcome, but he had the same foundation I did, and her name was Pinky Jackson Hankison. She was our maternal grandmother. She introduced all of us to Christ, and she passed away on July 13th, 2003. But there is not a day that goes by that neither Dameion nor I think about her. She was absolute rock of Gibraltar for us and our family. So we do thank God for all of you who are present. Once again, please feel free. I'm going to welcome in Mr. Dameion Moore. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the broadcast.
Good morning. How y'all doing?
Wonderful. Hey, audience, I want to let you know, if you hear echo, let me know. I can hear it, but Dameion doesn't hear it. And I want to make sure it doesn't interfere with the broadcast. So if you hear echo, please let us know. Dameion, I just want you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them a few things about yourself before we get started.
All right. Good morning to some. Good afternoon to others. My name is Dameion Moore. I'm from South Norfolk in Virginia. I grew up with a lot of cousins, a lot of family. The things that I decided to do, I knew better than to do, but I still did them anyway. But lucky for me, I had my entire family praying for me. So when I couldn't hold my own hand, they would hold my hand, not just through the prayers, but through the intercessions that they were putting together for me. You will always need help when you begin to do things that you've never done before. Understand that. Know that I done lived a whole bunch of life, but I'm not here to talk about the bad things. I'm here to talk about my transformation, how I made it back to me and let go of the idol that used to be that guy they called Day Day.
Wow. I put you on mute just to avoid the echo. So I'll manipulate that so we're all right. Now, okay, Sandra, thank you. She said she heard the echo. So we'll do it like this. When I'm speaking, Damien, I'll put you on mute, and then I'll put myself on mute when you're speaking. That way, we won't put yourself on mute for me, please. There you go. That way we won't hear the echo. But listen, I'm going to ask Damien this question. And we're going to start the conversation like this because this is very important. Now, I know you're not going to spend a whole bunch of time on the negative, but you just made a very interesting statement. You said you had to find your way back to me. There's a couple things I want you to explain with that. I want you to take your time to tell your story the way you want to tell it. What do you mean finding your way back to me? Where were you when you were lost? And where is it that you're going now? Unmute yourself real quick, Daddy.
Yeah, you know I was gonna forget that. All right, when I say that I had to find my way back to me, there are a lot of things that had occurred early on in life that didn't allow me the position nor place to develop as I felt that I should have been able to as a child. So when I say I made my way back to me, I made my way back to what was expected of me, what people had prayed about for me, what my particular calling was in life. That's what I mean when I say I made it back to me. I had to get back to the basics, the core beliefs that had been set down before me as a child, and understand that no man has a monopoly, not on hurt, not on addiction, not on being a gang member, not on being an urban terrorist as we are listed by the FBI. Understand if you're a gang member, you do have a FBI dossier. Understand that. That's what I mean when I made it back to myself. I had to make my way back. So I had to do some self healing. I had to understand some things that I wasn't even ready to deal with. I had to let some of them go because I wasn't ready. The things that I were ready to deal with, I dealt with them. And I came back much stronger than I ever thought I'd be.
Wow. Now that was an answer. Now this is what I want you to do. In your own words, tell your story. And let me just set this up for the audience. Now I'm gonna let Damien tell it. But many years of his adult life, he was incarcerated, and I will not attempt to tell his story. I'm gonna let him tell it. But he has been free now for a couple of years, and from everything that I'm seeing, he's on the right track to make a tremendous comeback, not just to get back into society, but to really make a splash. I will tell you that it is very generally accepted on my mother's side of the family that Damien is the smartest grandchild that Nana had. Now, Damien was probably also the most mischievous grandchild that Pinky had. But nevertheless, we recognize his extreme intellect. And I'm going to ask him to use a little bit of that to explain to us his story. Don't forget to unmute yourself, brother.
Well, my story goes like this, man. I was born to Richard Lawrence Moore and Dorothy Hankerson at that time. The year was 1968, 411. As they said, or as they continue to say, I was considered to be the smartest grandchild of all. But then that created a contradiction for me because in my mind, I was the toughest guy around. So that was the contradiction. So, in all that, growing up, I was the third child considered to be the knee baby. So, anybody who know anything about that type stuff in black people's families, you understand that the knee baby is the person who gets the least attention, or so they say. Because I can guarantee you, I got plenty of attention too. Maybe some of it unwanted, but most of it was warranted. Guarantee you that. Because at every situation, from the time I was 9 years old when I caught my first case, June the 9th, 1977, was in continual trouble all the way up to I caught that last case March the 17th on my sister Gina's birthday, the year 2018. I've not been in no trouble. I'm on parole. They're about to let me off early. I had a job. I had to quit because my mental health was at stake. And that's something that my mental health and my freedom, two things that we're not even gonna talk about. We're not gonna discuss those. If anything comes against that, it's out of here for sure. Friends, family, whatever. Drugs, alcohol, I don't care about none of that. I'm free. I plan to stay free. I done did a lot of years in prison. And if you're going down that road, trust me, you may think you're equipped and you may think you're going to win. But I can guarantee you from experience, from lived experience, from having gotten in trouble for over 40 years, it's not going to work for you. You're going to end up one or two places, in a penitentiary or in the grave.
I like that. Thank you. Now, you brought us up to, I guess, currently now. You told us about the childhood things. Now, from the time of your release from prison to this point, and I know that you spent some time in Colorado, you spent some time in Virginia, back in Colorado. Explain the transition to people so they can kind of get a grasp of generally what it's like to transition from prison and prison life and prison thought to trying to transition back into family, into relationships, into society, into the job market, and all the decisions that you have to make. Because I think for some people, that's a lot to bite off. They really can't understand it. I want you to make that transition understandable if you can.
This is what I came to understand in the entire situation, man. And I'm gonna hit you with a few sevens right here, right? I went to prison the first time. I got out 7 years later, right? Go back to prison 7 years after that. I find out I'm a drug addict by hearing a conversation on the weight pile. Two guys are talking. They're basically telling my story. Then 7 years after that, I said, man, I'm cool. I'm going to TC, man. I'm going to therapeutic community. I'm gonna get me some help. They was like, man, you gonna go up there? I said, yep, I'm going. Guess what they start doing? As soon as they seen me go, they start coming too. Not only did they understand that they needed to make a change, so we'll call that the contemplation stage of the 5 stages of change. They were in the contemplation stage, understanding that they needed to make a change but haven't put no action to it yet. But once they made that move to TC, they had put the action just like I did. So as we're in TC, they make you write a lot and you have to do a lot of things. And as you're going through that, and if it don't affect you in some kind of way, then you're dead inside. You begin to see the things that have affected other people with a ripple effect in your life, not just directly, but everybody who it's touched, just outside the further ripples of the situation. Then I started telling myself the truth. I asked Uncle Richard to send me something, and that's what he sent me. He sent me one page. It had in big letters, tell yourself the truth. So when I began to tell myself the truth, I understood that every crime, I was there. Even if I didn't participate, like they used to tell me in school when they used to, Principal Gunn used in the junior high school, Dameion Moore, get out of here. My mama said, it's not because you done something, son, it's because you was there. So at every crime that occurred, I was there. Every person that got jumped on, I made sure I threw a punch. When we start kicking people, I was kicking them too. So I'm just as culpable in this situation as anybody involved. So now I got to make a shift. I have to make a turn. I have to think better. I have to do better. In my thinking better, I have to come back off a whole bunch of stuff that I thought was true. And I have to start to operate in what I was told was true. Because the person who told me this, I believe every word she ever told me. And she never led me wrong. And some of the lessons she taught me are right now, today, manifesting themselves in my life. So once I decided I was going to make a shift, I started putting better things in me. Like I know I can do it. I started listening to Denzel and his motivational speeches. I ran across a brother named Keyshawn Scott with the elephant in the room. We scared to do stuff that we've never done before because we've never done it before. Ain't nobody told you was going to fail. You just ain't got enough faith in yourself to do it. Okay, so now we get to the faith. I already had the faith. It's always been in me. All I had to do was get up off my high horse and kill that idol who's day. That's all I had to do, and start to listen to the vibrations that I was feeling. Because it's been vibrating. Wasn't nothing said for a long time, but it's been rumbling just under the surface. So that's where we are now. I drive a truck every day that I was able to get when I didn't even have a job. Went down there, signed up, didn't have no credit, didn't have no job, had my partner call down there. Next thing you know, I got me a truck. So I went from Virginia in 2019, well, April 2020, to Colorado in April 2020. 4 days after I got here, I had a job. Went on to leave that job, get hurt, and has steadily worked, even if not in a regular job, most days with this pickup truck. That's God right there. I got the pickup truck, so I'm going to work for sure. A man with a pickup truck, he put in work. So here we are now today. Every weekend, I try to do what I need to do to get it out the way so I can listen, so I can be silent and listen. The same 6 letters, transposed in a different configuration. The only way you can listen is you have to close your mouth, because you got one mouth and 2 ears for a reason. So once I started listening, this is where I am, man. God told me that I didn't have to use my back no more. I could start using my brain. And that's exactly what I intend to do. I may be out of practice, but I'm not that far out of practice, man.
I love it. Thank you for that. That's such great insight. Now, you said something about telling yourself the truth. Now, this is crazy because I didn't tell you this when we were in the studio before we came on. But this morning, Tisha and I were talking as we were, getting ourselves ready, getting dressed and all that. And I told her, I said, sweetie, I'm going to interview Day today. And he'd been through something. He got a story to tell. I said, but I'm going to tell you something. I said, with any person who's been through something, me, you, and anybody else, the biggest hurdle is us. And sometimes the hardest person in the world to tell the truth on, to tell the truth about, is you. When you can get into that mirror and tell yourself the truth, you are now headed somewhere. I want you to tell the audience about your experience in telling you the truth.
Well, like I say, when we got up there to that therapeutic community, you do a lot of writing, you do a lot of reading, you do a lot of speaking, even if you don't want to. So as we were doing our introductions, they asked us to think about the things that we wanted to change and where we wanted to see ourselves in 2 to 5 years. This is my 5th year right here. From that, and this is where I wanted to be. So I told myself the truth, that I had smoked all the crack I was gonna smoke. I done chased all the girls I'm gonna chase. Now I do got this fast truck and I like to make it perform. So fast cars is something that ain't out the picture for me. But them other 2 things, distant memory, man. Distant memory. Because I feel that if I'm gonna make it, I'm gonna need a helpmate. And I have one. That's what I thought. And I have one. And yeah, she get on my nerves and we argue and we do all that. You know what I'm saying? But don't a minute go by, I don't walk right up behind her, kiss her on her neck, or bite her or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because when I tell myself the truth, I know I need her just as she needs me. But when you're telling yourself the truth, make sure you don't leave nothing out. Make sure if you need to go to God for understanding, for repentance, that you do that. Ain't nobody gonna hear you. You get to say whatever you want to say. So ain't no excuse about what you can't tell God. I'm living proof that if you get off your high horse, and just like you said last week, Overseer, kill them idols, man. Get away from them idols, man. Come on back from all that. So when I told myself the truth, I began to understand that I really wasn't that good of a guy. And that took some understanding. I really wasn't that good a guy. I kick you when you're down, pickpocket you. Yeah, if you say too much, I might cut you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna fight you for sure. You know what I'm saying? If you say the wrong word while you're still talking, I was gonna punch you. I want to see if you really want to fight because you're saying words like you want to fight. I can't do none of that now. I'm somebody's grandpa. People I'm responsible for and responsible to people, right? I have an image to uphold in this community because when you've done the types of things that I've done, you don't never get away without giving back, son. You gonna have to make some reparations. You gonna have to apologize to some people you don't like. You gonna have to hold some people's hand that you can't stand. You gonna have to pray with some people that you'd rather slap. But understand this, like Miss Pinkett taught me in Galatians 5, you're gonna reap what you sow. So when you don't understand, you got an excuse. But once you understand, there's no excuse, Damien. There's no excuse. If you think you can't come back from what you done, I got 40 years on that mat that you're standing on. 40, which means I ought to be able to retire and get the kind of money that the owner of the company get. God say I'm worthy of it. He said everything he promised me, he is worthy and he shall deliver. That's what I'm going with. Every day he wake me up and I go in one of them stores and somebody asks me how I'm doing. I said, well, God woke me up this morning. I think I can make it from there. Amen.
Amen all the way. Now, I first of all, I just appreciate what you're saying because you just keeping it so raw and real, and I love it. I want to know, this is a two-part question. What was the toughest part of your transition from the physical part of prison, which is being locked down and being in a place where you really got to do what somebody tell you to do at a certain time, to coming out into the free world, but then the emotional and psychological portion of it too, because I'm sure that the Damien that we're talking to right now was probably not the same Damien that you had to be in prison to survive. So that's the first part of the question. I want you to talk about what was the toughest part of the transformation from prison to freedom. And then I want you to speak to, excuse me, y'all, I got a little cold. Speak to those brothers and sisters who are going to be watching this, whether live or on the replay, who are going through that struggle now and maybe need somebody to just keep it real with them. Look, this is what you need to be doing if you want to stay free. Do you mind speaking to that?
First part of the question, man. I think the toughest thing, man, was when I got back to Virginia, you know, with the dude I am, and with all modesty, man, with the dude I am, I thought my reception should have been a lot greater. Really, I really did. And for a minute there, I allowed myself to get beside myself and get back into some of my old thinkings, to the point where I was willing to risk it all to show people who I am. It was rough, man. You know, when when I figured out I had to leave, I had to make a decision. It it broke my heart, but it brought peace to my soul, bro. Because I knew that I would be coming back here, and the opportunities for a guy getting out with Second Chance Center, Tone, with Community Outreach Center, with things like that. I knew coming back here would allow me the resources that I needed to get up off my knees and up on my feet. So that's the first part of it. Psychologically and mentally, you already know who I am, man. You know I'm not. Look, it might be a moment. You know what I'm saying? We be talking, and then I'll be like, and you be like, uh-oh. You know what I'm saying? So so psychologically, I had to get prepared because I'd made the decision. And then I stayed there another 18 months. After I talked to God in the county jail, I don't, not only do I not want to go back to prison after this, I don't even want to put on no handcuffs. Don't even ask me for my ID. Please don't, because I'm not going to put myself in no position for you to have to do so. Okay, so psychologically, I had to prepare myself for people to be behind me in line, because you know how I am. And I'm not, like I said, I wasn't a nice guy. So you can just imagine if I wasn't nice on the street, you just imagine what I was in prison, where violence is welcomed. Now I had a monopoly on the violence a little bit though. You know what I'm saying? Because they kept thinking that they just showed up. They didn't understand that I was an OG before I left Chesapeake in 1986. See, they didn't know that. They expected me to conform and configure when I was already past the level that they were trying to attain. See, so I done graduated from all that nonsense. Psychologically, I was a lot more prepared than I thought I was because I had already told myself that no matter what happened, I wasn't going to put myself in no trick bag and go back to prison, right? So then emotionally, I done some crying. I had to do some healing, had to forgive some people that I wanted to hurt. I'm talking about I ain't, you know me, you know. You remember what happened? That boy did something to my sister. You remember what happened to him out front of my mama's house. And the only thing saved his life was that woman, old lady looked out that window and said, somebody get him off of him because he gonna kill him. That's probably what saved that boy's life. Remember that? So I'm not fat mouthing at all. Okay, so we go for that. Okay, so that's the psychological, right? That's the mental and the emotional. There was another part to the question, though.
The other part was this. I want you to speak to those men and women who, like yourself, are now free. Maybe it was a recent release. Maybe they've been released for a while, and they may be having a struggle. What would you tell them? Also, I'm gonna add a little something to that. Those that are getting ready to be released, hey, within the next year or so, they're gonna be released. What would you tell them if somebody could have whispered to you, hey, Dameion, you're gonna be free in 12 months. This is what you need to be doing to prepare yourself for success. Come on with it.
If you've done any kind of time in any Department of Corrections, United States of America, and you're about to be released, you need to get all your paperwork in order, get all your certificates, make sure you apply for your driver's license, get your social security card. Don't let the people tell you that they're gonna get it for you when you get out, because they're not. They're gonna make you jump through all kinds of hoops because you don't have this and because you don't have that. Your paperwork is your responsibility. See this? Your paperwork is your responsibility. That's your responsibility. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. So get all that in order first. After you made the decision that you're going to do everything you can when you get out of prison to stay out, don't go around no more of them jokers, man, who you was getting high with. They always tell you in the drug class, man, people, places, right? Don't go around them people. Don't go back to them places, and don't go back to your old behaviors. You need to find you some new friends, somebody who will pray for you, who will send you $50 if you need it, if you're in trouble. You don't want to be around no joker standing up on no corner, man. Standing on the corner for what? You standing on the corner, here come the police, you can't even get away. They done already seen you. Get away from them friends, man, them old places, man. And if you're already out, when you get up in the morning and somebody asks you how you doing, you make sure that first move you make is a pleasant one. That'll gonna set the tone for the rest of your day. When somebody asks you how you doing, even if you ain't doing too well, your legs hurting like mine, you got a torn bicep, bad back and all that, you still smile and tell him you're doing all right. Tell God thank you anyway, because he woke you up. No matter how you feel, you're still here. You got a whole bunch to be thankful for. A lot of people didn't make it through the night. You out here, don't be doing no drugs. If you got a drug problem, don't drink no alcohol. If you got an alcohol problem, stay away from them fast girls. You got a gang problem, stay out the neighborhood. You can find you some more friends. And I guarantee when you find some more friends, they're going to treat you way better. You could be thinking to yourself, man, I should have got away from them jokers a long time ago. So this is what I have to say to the people, man. If I made it, man, through all my nonsense and all my BS, through everything that I had been told, man, that I wasn't going to make it to 18, 25. Man, I'm 53 years old. I'll be 54 next month, man, on April 11th, man. If you think you ain't going to make it, use a lie. You're lying to yourself. If you put everything you can, just like we were talking about earlier. Remember we was talking earlier? Remember? Shake your head. Yeah, remember we was talking? If you, with the same vigor and fervor that you committed them crimes, you undertake that you are going to do what's right for you, I guarantee you, as long as you don't give up on yourself, you're going to make it. And it's going to be hard. Every day, you're going to have to get up with the understanding that it's going to be some obstacles in my way that I have to navigate. It's going to be some people that talk crazy to me that I'm going to have to let go. It's going to be a guy on the highway that's going to almost wreck my new car. But I got to let him go. I ain't got to avenge me. I'm gonna let God do that. I'm gonna get out God's way to let him do what he said he's gonna do in my life. I'm gonna get right out the way. I'm gonna get out my way and out of God's way too. So if you're not willing to do everything that was just enumerated, you're probably not gonna make it. But guess what though? God is a God of second chances. If you don't make it and you go back to prison, don't give up on yourself. Don't give up. I think I went back a total of 7 or 8, maybe 9 times. But I stand before you today. I'm out here, hold up, and I'm free. Look here. Look here. That's my truck. I'm out here. I don't see no fences, no bars, no nothing. You tell me God won't do it. You better tell that nonsense to somebody else. Cause I'm going with God on man, cause everything they done told me done came true. So if you're in my way, like I told you earlier, please step back from the door. The train is about to leave. Remove all your personal belongings, hands, feet, and clothing away from the doors. Because if you get in my way, I'm going to run right past you. Everything you say to me, you're saying behind my back. I can't hear you no way. I'm going to go with what God got to say, man. So if you're out here, you on parole, do what you're supposed to do. As long as you do what you're supposed to do, the people are going to back up off you a little bit. Soon as they see that you're really about what you're talking about, that your actions and your words don't contradict one another, they're going to back up off you a little bit because they got a whole bunch of dummies and clowns who they could be chasing through the neighborhood. Trust me, if you do what you're supposed to do, the people will leave you right alone. I had the gang task force dude out here. He ain't even never once been in the apartment. That's doing what you're supposed to do.
Hey man, that's awesome. That's awesome. I want you to know Pastor Lee Mooring. He got a question, 2 questions. The first question is this one. How do we get through to these young men to keep them from going down a bad path? And Dede, that question is for you. So remember, he wants you to speak to, if you got a group of young men together that look like, they should be in the Scared Straight program. What can an OG like you say? Listen, man, I've been there, done that. Got all the tattoos, got all the stars, got got the reputation. Been there, done that, bro. But this is what it's gonna get you. What would you tell them? And then he asked this question. He says, Pastor Carl, what can we do to support men like this who can understand and speak into these situations and can make a difference? Before we get off the air, Pastor Lee, we're gonna get some information from Dameion. And I'm glad you asked that because men like him do need our support. They do. A lot of times they're proud and they're not going to ask, right? But Dameion knows, and I don't think I'm breaking confidence when I say this. If he asks me for anything and I can do it, I'm gonna do it because I know that he wouldn't ask if there wasn't a need. And when we do whatever we do, it's over with and it don't get talked about no more. Because I understand that there's a struggle, and we listen. For those of you who don't know what I know, it's better that you help him do right than see him do wrong. and then you know that I know. So, so I want you to begin to speak to those questions.
Okay. He say he's designated some guys who are about trouble, and they're on their way to trouble. First thing you can't do is let up on them dudes, man. You can't give them no air, man. If you're trying to save them, you just as well put your foot on their neck than let them get away from you. You just as well, when he comes out to school, if you off, you just as well be there to pick him up. Because if you not and you don't keep it on him, look, one of my biggest regrets, man, is that nobody was ever stern enough with me to make me. Nobody was ever stern enough with me to make me do anything. If I had some, I'm talking about, look, we got whoopings and all that, but I'm talking about, boy, if I had the fear of God whooped into me, I would have been a totally different dude. But nobody cared enough to stop me or to make me stop. I kept wondering when somebody was going to stop me. I was like the dude on, what's that? The dude with the green suit. Somebody stopped me. Wasn't nobody going to stop me. So if you have a group of guys, you have to take them guys places, show them guys on other things. You have to show them things that they've never seen. You have to show them things that other people who look like them are doing so that they can see that it's possible for them also. That's what you have to do. But you can't let your hand off of them, no. Because you know how these little jokers is, they easily, they'll get away from you. They'll squirm and squirm and squirm. As soon as you turn your head, when they be gone. Next thing you know, you at the courthouse visiting while he got on oranges. Don't let that be your mistake because you let up on him too soon. If you're hard on him, be hard on him. Because some of us, we don't understand nothing but aggression and animosity in the vein of tough love. That's all we understand. You're not going to get me with no, oh, Dameion, everything going to be cool. No, you're not going to get me with that. Get it together, son, or else. That's what Uncle Richard got me with. I never acted outrageous. Dameion, yes, sir. I get real small. Real small. Don't let them go, man. If you got your hands on them, have them understand, man, that they're just as much your responsibility that they grow up. It's just as much your responsibility that they grow up as it is that your own children grow up. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care, man. So you show them that you care, and you'll start to reap dividends out of them young men. Don't let up off of them though, because they'll get away from you.
Man, that's something else. Partially, I'm gonna answer a part of your question, Pastor Lee Mooring. For those who want to support Dameion, as you can see in his name tag, he has his email address. That's DameienMoore9@gmail.com. And look at how he spells his name now, because he doesn't spell Dameion like a lot of other people spell it. So make sure you have that email address and you can contact him directly. For those of you who may not feel comfortable for whatever reason contacting him directly, you can contact me. Dameion is my first cousin. All right. And whatever you have by means of support, I will absolutely make sure that it gets to him. And let me tell you something about Dameion, aka Day Day. If I didn't, he'll tell you, but he could tell me first. So, Dameion, I want to thank you, man. This is great. And Pastor Lee is really enjoying you. He says, man, Pastor Carl, I can feel the love of God coming from his words. Well, Pastor Lee, I'm going to let Dameion tell you about that. And now this is something I want you to explain to the people so they can tie this in, because they listen to your story saying, oh my God, this dude caught his first case at 9 years old. Now he's 53, about to turn 54. There had to be something that was imparted in you along the way that helped you to come back. I'm going to tell you something that I noticed. When I first got myself together, I noticed that I immediately knew where to run to. But there were some of those who were with me, they didn't have the background that I had. Matter of fact, some did not accept that we were even wrong. It was like, well, we ain't hurting nobody. Yeah, man, but come on, bro. Everything we was doing was wrong. But they couldn't see it because nobody laid a foundation of what right looked and sounded like. When you were in the deepest of your trouble, or when you came to yourself, however you want to start to talk, what was it that was deposited in you at a young age that helped you to come back to center?
I wrote that in the poem once. I had to move back center. I had to move back center. That's one of my lines. Yeah, I put that in the poem. Just so, look, just for me. What it was though, man, and purely and simply what it was, man. I never stopped praying, Carl. Even when I was robbing folk. When I was chasing them girls up down the street, when the girl I had got killed and got her hands cut off. Even then, I never stopped praying. When they said I was facing 32 years that last time, I never stopped praying. The first time when I went to prison, and I knew I was going to have to whoop a dude, and I knew I could whoop him, I was scared, but I wasn't fearful because I never stopped praying. They was chasing me in the train yard, trying to kill me. All I was worried about was getting away. God was going to do the rest. Ain't no way I done been through all I done been through, seen all I done seen, done all I done done. Ain't no way that I'm still here without no purpose. I must got a purpose. So I'm going to start walking in that power of the purpose. I know what was prayed over me, man. I now know why I got the words. Little tidbit that nobody really knows. When I would get suspended, me and Miss Pinky be sitting there. Wasn't no fun and games. Dameion, get that book. We finna get us a lesson. While I'm learning, I'm teaching, and she doing the same thing. That's what it was. I never stopped praying. Neither did Mama. Neither did Miss Pinky, Aunt Maya, Aunt Josephine, Aunt Helen, Aunt Nona. Especially not Uncle Johnny. Especially not. Praying over me. You can't tell me he won't do it. I had to come back. Look, man, like I say, Mook, I was in trouble for 40 straight years. 39 years and 11 months. 23 days. That's a lot to come back from, man. And to be able to be in a cell in 2018 and then go from there to Virginia and come back to here and be sitting doing what I'm doing right now is a miracle in and of itself. So don't tell me God don't work no miracles, because you're looking at it. I had a lot to come back from, 40 years worth. If you ain't got in trouble that long, there's nothing you can tell me to make me understand how you don't think that you gonna make it too. I won't accept it. Don't bring it around me. If you ain't got nothing good to say, even about yourself, keep it to yourself. Because God gonna do it. He done it for me. I was wondering, man, you know what I'm saying, how much of it I was gonna get to you and how I was gonna see it. And I woke up this morning. I've been anxious for the last 3 weeks, but I woke up this morning, not a care in the world. Wasn't in a hurry or nothing. Made it out to the truck just in time. Made it back to the truck just in time. Come on, man. I'm not worried at all. God got me. Who shall I fear? What shall I fear? Nothing. No weapon formed against me. And I'm talking about they had them all against me. The devil had them girls, them fast cars that crack cocaine. I'm not sitting up here talking about I was snorting no powder. Nothing. I'm talking about I had a pipe with some crack and 2, 3 lighters and 2, 3 girls and somebody's car and somebody else's card with their money on it. That's what I'm talking about. God brought me back from that. Come on, man. Ain't nothing you can tell me. Miss Pinky told me a long time ago. She said, Damien, you know what? I said, what, Miss Pinky? She said, well, you got to have tests before you get a testimony. I said, the old lady really do know what she talking about, boy. Because she wasn't talking about no 1 or 2 year test. I wasn't out there 40 days and 40 nights neither. I was out there 40 years. So you can come back if you decide to. You got a choice and a chance every day. If you make the right choice, you'll be all right. Don't take chances with your life, man. Don't take chances with your life. Hold up, before I stop, Carl, let me say something. And I intended to say this at the head of this broadcast. My biggest regret in life is not being there for my children. That's my biggest regret. Nothing, there's nothing that could take that away. I feel it every day. Every day. That's my biggest regret.
Man, I tell you what, I appreciate, and I'm not trying to wrap up. We got a little bit more to go here. I appreciate all that you have poured out. And I know that last little bit that you said, because I know you. I know that came from a real place, and I know that hurts. But I'm going to tell you what, you helped a lot of people when you just said that. Here's the deal. You can't go back and get them 40 years back. I'll tell you one thing, you can sure be one heck of a daddy now. A heck of a daddy and a heck of a granddaddy. Because one thing you sure can tell them what not to do. Right? And so that in itself is a blessing. And let me tell you something. I hope you're seeing all of these comments that the audience is making. If you don't see them, you can go back and look at it. They are moved. And I want y'all to know this is 100% real now. This ain't no made up stuff. So now I want to get to the end of the conversation with this. There's a lot of things about you that people don't know. And so I'm going to take a moment. For y'all that don't know, Dameion is a prolific writer. He has a grasp of the English language that may blow your mind. And this is not new, because I remember being a little boy. When I say a little boy, I'm talking about as young as 7, 8, 9 years old, reading poems that Dameion would write, because he would write the family letters when he was in jail, even in juvenile detention. And a lot of times he would write to my grandmother, and he would write poems. And if he had a little note for the rest of us, you know I'm telling the truth because you remember, he would put the note for the rest of us in that envelope. And a lot of times it was poem. To be honest with you, my own propensity to write poetry probably came from reading Dameion's poems. I write poetry myself. He is what I would call a prolific writer, not just poetry, but I mean short stories, essays. I would venture to say that if he put his mind to it, he probably could be a playwright. He probably is a guy who could write movies. Not only is he a prolific writer, he's a prolific speaker. Dameion not only has a tremendous command of the English language, but combined with his extreme intellect and experience with living life, he knows how to tell a story. He knows how to tell the story, and he knows how to tell his story. Now, all the storytellers out there know that I know what I'm talking about when I say that. And he does that. Right now, Dameion does do some public speaking. And he does some public speaking to people who need his kind of information. So, Dameion, if you don't mind, I would like for you to please tell the audience about your public speaking engagements and what your aim is and all that.
Yeah, as you said, man, I still write the poetry and still write everything really. Uh I have an entire book that I can recite off the top of my head of my poetry, and that's what I consider to be my opus. Is that what it is? Is that what it would be? My opus? Okay. That's what I consider it to be. The title used to be Rehab, I Should Have Known Better. Now, where there's a will, there's a way. That's the new title. I'm going to be going out and seeing what's going on as far as the spoken word goes here in Denver. That's not my aim, though. My aim is to travel and speak to people because the knowledge that I have, it's lost if I don't bestow it upon others. I'll just have that knowledge. I want to take it and do things with it that nobody ever thought was possible. Nobody thought I was possible. So I'm operating in that. Tell me what I can't do, I show you different. They told me I wasn't going to make it. They bet against me and everything at the parole office. That parole officer I had, the gang task force dude, he bet his money on me. He won everybody's money. First conversation, he bet his money on me. After the first conversation after I got back here. Yeah. So I'm going to be going out, man. Like I say, I don't hope nothing. I pray that what we do here leads to more fruitful opportunities for everyone involved. I was waiting on my calling, and I was waiting because, you know, like I said, you know what I told you when we was on the phone, I was flying down the street in the work truck. You know what I told you? I don't have but one prayer for Dameion, and that's that God's will be done in my life. Whatever it is. If I don't have no money, I'm cool with that too. I know how to be lean. I was in prison counting pennies. Every penny. A 28-cent soup will knock off your budget. I know how to do a whole lot with a little bit. Hopefully God can see fit to put me in the place that I can help everybody who need this help and help everybody else in the process. Not just help the people that need the help, but help the other people too. Because like I say, I want for everybody what I want for me. I want you to be all right. I want you to trust in God. I want you to keep moving forward. Other than that, I don't know what to tell you, man. If you get too far out the box, they're going to make sure you get back in. They got a place for you. Trust me. They don't discriminate. You be crippled. Matter of fact, I tell you this. In 2018, when I was sitting in that cell, I had that escape charge. I knew I wasn't facing no more than 2 years. I knew that. I saw a guy new in a wheelchair. That pressed me up against the wall. That pressed me. Because I'm getting about that age, though, that if I go back to prison, somebody going to be pushing me in a wheelchair, too. You know I'm too vain for that. I'm too vain. Hey, I ain't even put my glasses on yet and know I need them. Look, my eyes water. I ain't even put my glasses on and know I need them. You know I ain't finna allow nobody to push me around no wheelchair, not no penitentiary. Hold up. And I had a choice? Oh, no. Oh, let me get this right now. Oh, no. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that, man. So here I am before y'all today, man. I hope you understand that you can make it. And if you don't, there's my email right there. Hit me, and I'll talk to you. I guarantee you I'll get you back in shape. Because you ain't got but 1 or 2 good times to listen. And the third time, I ain't going to have no good words to say to you. I'm going to tell you exactly what you're up against and what's going to happen if you don't go the opposite direction. And I'm going to give you my address so that when you get to the penitentiary that you're headed to, when you get there, you can write me. And I'm going to tell you the same things I told you before you got there. When you should have listened then. The time to listen ain't when you get in trouble. Oh, Lord, what I'm going to do? That ain't the time to listen. The time to listen is when you hear it in your head. Don't do that. That's when you listen. You know, if you're a smart man, you can see somebody else get hit in the head and be like, okay, that hurt. Don't do that. That's why my head is misshapen, because I never listened. I got all the knacks, all of them. Keep on doing what you're doing. But if you want to go straight, You better go straight now. You might not get another chance. I love you all.
This has been a tremendous conversation. And to be quite honest with you, audience and Damien, I feel like this is part one of several because there's no way that he can tell his whole story in this hour that we have. But this was a good start. As he said before, as I said before, Damien's email address is right there in his name tag, DamienMoore9 at gmail.com. If you want to reach out to somebody who can really tell you about what it is to make the transition from prison to positivity, he's the man to do it. We need a little encouragement. Now I'm gonna tell you something about Day Day now. See, I can call him Day Day. Matter of fact, I knew he was Day Day before I knew it was Damien. Right? Day Day to me is big cuz he's 3.5 years my senior, and he was one of the cousins that looked out for me when me and his younger brother Dan were little tots coming up in the neighborhood. There's a couple of names you could call and folks would get up off you, and Day Day was one of them names. So for anybody who wants to support Damien in any kind of way, you can contact him directly at his email address. If you want to, you can contact me. You can do it on Carl's Conversations. You can do it at Carl Armstrong. For those of you who know me personally, you have my contact information. You can do that. If you are someone who is a community leader, a pastor, somebody like that, and you have a group for Damien to talk to, whether it be virtually or whether you want to put him on a plane and bring him personally to your audience, hey, you can do that. And we were hoping that things like that would really come out of this conversation. There is something that he has to offer. There is something that he has to offer. And let me tell you, I was trying to tell it to you, there's more than meets the eye. He's a tremendously intelligent person, dynamically talented, and certainly is a truth teller. All right. So if that's what you want, please feel free to contact him at his email address. And for whatever reason, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can always reach out to me. Whatever you have for him, I will absolutely make sure that he gets it. All right. And so what I'm going to do here, Damien, Pamela Peters, she says, thank you, Pastor and First Lady, for this encouraging testimony. You are doing what you said your ministry was all about, because they know that I preach transition place. This is the place of transition, right? And even though this is not specifically a transition place broadcast, everything I do is about ministry, to be quite honest with you. And then Pastor Lee Morris said, I was absolutely blessed by this conversation. I'm going to ask all of you, including you, Pastor Morin, who are blessed by this conversation, make sure you share it on your social media platforms. Call people to it. This is something that you can bring people into. And Dave, I hope you don't mind. Can I mention Sandra? Okay, Sandra. Sandra is the young lady. I'm going to call her young lady. That's right. I said young lady, who is supporting Damien as far as being his lady, being his friend, being his confidant. And I, through him, Sandra, I do appreciate you. I thank God for you. And please know that Tisha and I are praying for you. You have helped my cousin tremendously, and I appreciate it. The family appreciates you. Thank you. We sincerely appreciate you. So I'm going to wrap this up by giving the microphone to Dede for him to have closing comments.
All right. There's nothing that I've told you here today that is not the absolute truth. As I was ruminating about what would be said and how it would be received, I knew that I would be led with the truth by God. I know that my cousin prayed on this, and he understood that I needed a little nudge. He understood that if I didn't set a date and he didn't set a date, it wouldn't be no date. He understood my procrastination in everything that I do. Lucky for me and him, God got his hand in it. So he went on set the date, and it was just we downhill from there. So if you want to talk to me, talk to me. If you want to see me, I'll be to see you. Don't matter to me, because all I'm gonna be doing from here on out is I'm gonna be talking to people. I'm not gonna be using my back for no work. I'm gonna be using my brain. So if that's what you after, you need somebody to speak, you need somebody to come hold somebody's hand. Sometime, if you need somebody tripped a little bit. Hold up. No, I'm messing. Don't nobody repeat that. I'm messing. Don't nobody repeat that. Yeah. If you need me to speak, I'm there, man. I'm fully invested like the pig on the way to the slaughter. He got one job. He gonna be the bacon. I'm fully invested, bro. Whatever is needed. Remember the question you asked? Okay. Remember I told you about the prayer, Jabez? Send me. I'm your youth minister. I'm the guy. I'm the gang intervention specialist. I'm your guy. I'm your guy. I'm on the way whenever they ask for me. God bless you all. I love y'all.
All right, you heard it from Dameion, and let me tell you, I'm gonna have to go back and rename this part one. We're gonna do it again. I'll get with Dameion. We'll set a date that both of our schedules can handle. And what I want you to do in the meantime is spread this. This is part one, but we're gonna bring him back, and he's gonna talk about the youth. He's gonna talk about some gang intervention and all the other things. And I'm hoping that from this point until then, he'll be able to speak of some speaking engagements that he's gotten through you guys. And like I said, whether it would be a virtual thing or you want him to do it in person, he's available. We don't want to waste all this experience. Dameion, we thank you. Miss Sandra, we thank you. And artists, we thank each and every one of y'all who spent this time with us. Thank you so much. I do want to shout out. I want to shout out my cousin Marco Armstrong and his lovely lady was celebrating her birthday.
April Corprew, tell her I remember her. April, tell her day they said hi.
That's right. April Day says hi. So we shouting out Marco and April. We're shouting out my wife, Tisha, and we shouting out Thad and Christina. We're all up here having a ball. Thank God for all of you. Until next time, may God bless you and may heaven smile upon you. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.